recently, Theros has come out, set in Magic the Gathering. You have two new subclasses. These have been reworked from their original Unearthed Arcanas. Can you tell me a little bit about those and like what was the reason for the redesign?
Our new Theros book, which is essentially Greek mythology themed D&D, seen through a Magic the Gathering lens in Dungeons and Dragons. That's a sort of a fun set of factors all coming together to create this setting. Uh, in it, we have a paladin subclass called the Oath of Glory. This subclass originally appeared in Unearthed Arcana as the Oath of Heroism. A lot of the Oath of Heroism is still in the Oath of Glory. The name change uh, is an indication that some of the feedback we got was about the flavor of the subclass itself. And we saw in the feedback that people really liked a lot of the pieces in the Oath of Heroism, but actually wondered, is this really about heroism so much as just being awesome? And they were right, because our whole story concept originally for the Oath of Heroism was the divinely inspired athlete, the Hercules like figure, and that led us to reconcepting the subclass as the Oath of Glory. The other thing we wanted to address in some of the changes we made between the Oath of Heroism and the Oath of Glory is bringing in some elements that were more helpful for the Paladin's companions. Some subclasses are all about just being awesome yourself, but the playtest feedback pointed out the Oath of Heroism felt kind of selfish. And when people play Paladins, even when they're playing something like the Oath of Conquest, there is a certain assumption built into the Paladin that you have tools that are beneficial to your allies. Paladin is like that, the Cleric is like that, the Druid is like that, the Bard is like that. And other classes have abilities like that to a greater or lesser extent as well. The Ranger also has a number of abilities specifically to help companions. And so part of our rework of the Oath of Heroism and turning it into the Oath of Glory was essentially make it to be a little less selfish. And so it has features now that like help you and your companions run together at high speed, and various ways to defend your companions and also give them temporary hit points. The temporary hit points bit was in the original, in the Oath of Heroism, but the sort of defending other people was not. And we wanted to bring all of that stuff together to make it so that this person is, a Hercules-like figure or a Gilgamesh-like figure or an Achilles-type figure, but a part of that is they are sharing this glory with their companions, which is appropriate because in those mythological examples, they are all known to have traveled with companions. It's interesting. Those heroes' names are the names that echo throughout human history, yet in their stories, they, in their most important moments, have one or more key companions. And that was on our mind in this redesign.
Yeah, they're not typically alone. They have an adventuring party, or they have at least one companion to bear witness to
Right.
all their glory and tell the tale.
Yeah. I was just going to say that that companion is often even also their lover, because that's the case of with Achilles and Patroclus, and it's often thought that Gilgamesh and Enkidu were also romantically involved.
And then we had the Bard College of Eloquence. Am I correct? And this has changed.
Yes. Now the College of Eloquence probably changed less than the Oath of Glory did. And partly with the Oath of Eloquence, we were really just changing the level at which you got something. Because the feedback we got with the Oath of Eloquence really was, we really like a lot of this stuff, but could we please have some of these cool toys at a lower level? And so the main part of our redesign work with the with the College of Eloquence was to take the capstone they had, which was what I think of as sticky inspiration, meaning you hang on to it or it sticks to you until you succeed. And then also they had the ability originally where if a person succeeds with their bardic inspiration die, you can then, as the bard, pass the inspiration to somebody else. We decided to break those two halves of that capstone feature into two separate features so that we could give you one of those halves at a lower level. And so now, instead of having to wait until 14th level to get all of that bardic inspiration goodness, the College of Eloquence now gets at least the unfailing inspiration part at 6th level. So you get to start playing with that toy much earlier in your adventuring career. Pretty much everything else we did in the subclass was sort of in reaction to shuffling some of the pieces around. There was also feedback that the universal speech ability, which we had given the bard at 3rd level, felt too powerful at that lower level. You know, this ability to be able to speak with anything. And so we kept the ability because people liked it, but listened to the feedback and moved it to a higher level. So that's now up at 6th level instead of at 3rd. So really, the College of Eloquence, its bones are largely the same as what we saw originally in Unearthed Arcana, but we changed the power levels. And that these two subclasses in Theros, the College of Eloquence and the Oath of Glory, show how differently game development can play out in response to playtesting. Sometimes you have a game element like the College of Eloquence that largely makes it through game development intact, just with pieces shuffled around and the balance adjusted. The Oath of Glory shows that sometimes instead a thing will have whole new features put in, the name changed, the story changed, while still having most of its core identity. And I like looking at these two as examples of how differently things can evolve as we do game development in conversation with the D&D community.